Meet Sarah. She's good at her job. Actually good. The kind of person her team quietly relies on. This morning, she finished everything by noon and spent the rest of the afternoon making it look like she didn't. Now meet Daniel. He became a manager because he genuinely wanted to help his team grow. This afternoon, he stared at a productivity dashboard for 2 hours. Numbers green, targets hit. And he still went home unsure if anything real got done. Sarah isn't lazy. Daniel isn't paranoid. They're both smart, both trying. So why are they both losing? Here's what nobody's saying out loud. Sarah and Daniel aren't opposites. They are both reacting completely rationally to the same broken thing. And AI didn't break it. It just made the cracks impossible to ignore. There's a name for what's happening to both of them. And once you see it, you'll understand why almost every fix people try makes it worse. Not better, worse. Stay with me, because by the end of this, whether you're more like Sarah or more like Daniel, you know exactly what that broken thing is and what to do about it. Here's what actually changed. Effort used to be visible. Writing, research, analysis, they were things you could see happening. They took time, and that time was proof. But now work is faster, sometimes instant. And when work becomes invisible, something breaks in the system. Pilots are trained for this exact moment. When visibility disappears in fog, they stop trusting what they can feel and start trusting their instruments. Because in fog, human instinct becomes unreliable. That's exactly what happened to Daniel. Remote work, AI, asynchronous communication, the old signals disappeared. He couldn't feel his team working anymore. So he did what pilots do in fog. He turned to instruments. Dashboard, KPIs, response time tracking, active hours, calendar density. Not because he stopped trusting Sarah, but because the fog took away everything else. There's a well-known story in economics. A visitor arrives at a large government worksite. Hundreds of workers are digging with shovels. He turns to the supervisor. Why aren't you using an excavator? It could do this in a fraction of the time. The supervisor replies, you don't understand. This is a jobs program. The visitor pauses. I see. Well, if creating the appearance of work is your primary objective, perhaps you should give them spoons instead of shovels. In 2026, we have the excavators. AI can write, research, analyze, summarize, faster and more consistently than any team. But because Daniel is in the fog of labor, he stopped asking where the canal is being built. He just wants to see the shovels moving. 8 hours of visible digging. Even when the excavator finished the job at 10 a.m. And here's what Daniel doesn't see. Sarah figured it out first. When showing her real efficiency didn't get her rewarded and it just got her more shovels, she stopped showing it. But here's the part that matters. She never told anyone else to do the same. She didn't need to. Her colleagues figured it out too, one by one, quietly, independently. And without a single conversation about it, without anyone ever saying the words out loud, the whole team arrived at the same silent understanding. Keep the shovels moving. Even when the excavator finished hours ago. I actually saw this happen once, before I even had the words for it, during an internship. There were entire days where almost nobody had anything meaningful to do, but everyone still acted busy. Screens open, meetings happening, constant motion. And whenever I asked what people were working on, nobody could point to a real project. I remember feeling genuinely confused. At one point I thought it was just me. Maybe I have nothing to do, or that I was the one missing something. So I asked one of the senior managers directly, what exactly is my role here? Because I couldn't understand the point of being somewhere 8 hours a day without actually contributing anything real. At the time, I thought something was wrong with the people. But looking back, nothing was wrong with the people. Jobs were scarce, nobody wanted to look unnecessary. So everyone adapted to the incentives. Quietly, independently, and without discussing it. Nobody organized this, nobody announced it, nobody sent a memo. The environment produced it naturally. A decade ago, we played the violin to survive a slow economy. Today, we are playing it to survive a fast technology. The song changed, the concept of evasion didn't. Because this was never really about the economy or about AI. It's about what people do when the system stops feeling safe. They protect themselves, quietly, collectively, without announcing it. That is the concept of evasion. Not a conspiracy, not laziness, not dishonesty. A silent pact that emerges when an entire team quietly concludes that showing the real efficiency is not safe. And Daniel? He's not misreading Sarah. He's misreading an entire coordinated social response to the environment that he and the system above him created. And here's the mystery that nobody solves. Daniel sees that something feels off and adds more tracking. The team feels the tracking and the pact tightens. Round and round we go. All of them getting more exhausted, none of them understanding why. What is actually driving this loop? That's what comes next. To understand why Sarah and Daniel are both stuck in this loop, you have to go back to what work used to promise to both of them. Not in writing, not formally, but widely believed. It was a tacit agreement. Sarah's side of the deal? Show up, work hard, be loyal. Trust that if you give enough, stability will follow. That the effort compounds into something real. Daniel's side? Build a team, develop people, deliver results. Trust that if the team performs, the organization will protect them. That loyalty follows in both directions. Not perfect, but predictable. In people, Sarah, Daniel, all of us can tolerate almost anything if we believe that the ground beneath us is stable. But the ground started moving. Layoffs happened in companies posting record profits. Roles that existed for decades disappeared in a quarter. Teams were reorganized overnight without warning or explanation. And then AI arrived with a question that nobody asked before. Not just will my company survive, but will my role still exist? Will what I'm good at still matter? Sarah felt it first. She started noticing that giving everything didn't seem to lead anywhere specific anymore. That the path she'd been walking quietly stopped having an endpoint. So she protected herself the only way she could. She stopped giving the system her full energy, aka quiet quitting. Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. Daniel felt it differently. Pressure from above increased. More accountability, more reporting, more proof. But the tools he used to manage with, presence, instinct, trust, they had been replaced by dashboards that he didn't fully believe in. So he kept measuring, kept tracking, kept asking for the shovels to keep moving. Not out of paranoia, out of self-preservation. The concept of evasion isn't Sarah's failure. It isn't Daniel's failure either. It's the sound of avoided contract. Two people, both decent, both trying, protecting themselves from a system that stopped protecting either of them. Which brings us to the only question that matters. If the old contract is gone, and the new one hasn't been written yet, what does rebuilding actually look like? For Sarah, for Daniel, for both of them. That's next. The system isn't changing. Neither Sarah nor Daniel can wait for it to finish. But here are 3 shifts that stop the loop. One for each of them, and one they have to make together. Shift 1. From visibility to outcomes. For Sarah, stop performing the digging. Make the work so undeniably done, so clearly impactful, that no one needs to count her shovels. Fewer things done better. Results that speak before anyone asks. For Daniel, drop the dashboards as the primary signal. If the canal is built, stop asking why the shovels aren't moving. Start measuring what actually matters. Did the outcomes happen? Was the quality there? Did the teams move the right things forward? Presence was never productivity. The fog just made him forget that. Shift 2. From control to structured trust. This is the uncomfortable one for both of them. For Daniel, structured trust doesn't mean blind trust. It means being explicit. Here's what I need from you, Sarah. Here's how I'll know it's working. Here's what I want monitored, because I trust that you own it. That clarity is worth more than any dashboard. For Sarah, structured trust means showing up as someone whose word means something. She says she'll deliver, and she delivers. She flags a problem early, before it becomes Daniel's emergency. She tells the truth about her capacity, instead of hiding the excavator and pretending to dig. When Daniel stops measuring everything, and Sarah stops hiding everything, the concert of evasion stops. Not because someone gave an inspiring speech, because the conditions that created it no longer exist. Shift 3. Protect the human premium. AI can dig the canal. Faster than Sarah, more consistently than Daniel's whole team. But it cannot tell you where the canal should go. It cannot read the room. It cannot sense when a decision needs more empathy than logic. It cannot know what matters to the specific people in a specific context. That is Sarah's edge. That is Daniel's edge. For Sarah, your value isn't your output, it's your judgment. Protect the space that lets you think clearly. For Daniel, stop filling Sarah's day with shovel counting. Give her room to be an architect, because the world has more output than it has ever had. What it doesn't have enough of is people whose judgment you trust. Remember Sarah and Daniel? One finishing early and hiding it, one watching dashboards and feeling nothing? Both decent people, both exhausted, both losing. The contract that failed them wasn't technology. It was a system built on visibility, in a world that no longer offers it. The new contract doesn't run on presence. It runs on outcomes, trust, and judgment. And the most valuable thing that Sarah and Daniel both bring to the new contract isn't their labor. It's their humanity. The old way of leading, control, visibility, presence, isn't working anymore. We've just seen why. But what replaces it? The organizations getting this right aren't managing harder. They're leading differently. Two ideas keep showing up in the places where trust is being rebuilt. Authentic leadership, where the authority comes from who you are, not the title you hold. And leading without authority, where influence replaces control entirely. If either of those sounds like the direction that you or your organization needs to move in, I've covered both in depth. Links are right here. Thanks a lot and have a great day.